Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of PDPMO. Once again, I am your host Richard, and I'd just like to start by wishing everyone a happy St. Patrick's Day. As you can see, I am wearing white, not green. I don't wear green on St. Patrick's Day because I'm not Irish. Now, if you are one of those people that is Irish and you wear green, happy St. Patty's Day. And if you're not Irish, but today you like to pretend you're Irish just so you can drink more, happy St. Patrick's Day to you. Um, but just remember, drink responsibly because just because you're wearing green, it doesn't make you Irish, and any Irish man or woman would tell you so. So, keeping with the St. Patty's Day theme, today I'm going to be reviewing the movie The Siege of Jadotville, starring Jamie Dornan and Jason O'Mara and Mark Strong. Um, Again, I mean, I know I repeat myself, but this is for new viewers. I give a brief synopsis on whether or not I like the movie, and then I'll get into what the movie's about. So, did I like the Siege of Jadotville? Yes, I did, very much. I will say that I'm a big war movie fan, especially, the typical, you know, insurmountable odds holding out against the enemy kind of thing. I love those styles of movies, and especially ones like Siege of Jadotville, which are based on actual events. I find it a lot more compelling than a fictitious story. But yeah, I thought this was wonderful. I thought it was well done, extremely well acted. The action sequences were great. Um, and the story, because it is based on actual events. After you've watched the movie, you can go in and look at the truth of the story compared to what they did in the movie. And as far as accuracy goes, this one looks pretty spot on as to what happened. Um, so yeah, great performances all around. Jamie Dornan. I haven't really seen a lot of Jamie Dornan. I mean, I didn't watch the 50 Shades of Grey movie because I that's not my style. And if you do actually put that in comments, I suppose I'll have to watch it. But I'm not going to ask that you don't, because if I did that, then there are certain people out there who would recommend it. And the fact that I'm even saying that now, I'm probably going to end up watching this movie. So, Siege of Jadotville, great movie, great story, compelling, and the actual events even more compelling. Wonderful story. So yes, watch the Siege of Jadotville if you like this type of movie. If you hate this type of movie, then it's probably not for you. So, for those of you checking out who don't want to know really anything about the movie, thank you for stopping by. Keep the conversation going because I believe that talking about movies is a lot of fun and can bring us together. So, getting into the nitty gritty of the Siege of Jadotville, it takes place in 1961 during the Congo crisis, where the Battle of the Katanga province was underway. The United Nations sent in a group of Irish soldiers to act as peacekeepers to the mining town of Jadotville. Apparently, the residents in the area were afraid for their lives, so the UN decided to send the Irish. They were actually requested because Ireland has a history of being a neutral country and being non-aggressive in the fact that they hadn't declared war on anyone. So a group of untested, they'd never been in battle before, but these group of soldiers was sent to Jadotville to protect the mining town. So they get there and they're not extremely welcome. You can tell that right away. They meet a French legionnaire who's actually leading a group of mercenaries who works for the mining company as their security detail. Basically, there's a lot of political stuff around these mines, and there's an assassination of the prime minister of Congo, leading to this power struggle. The U.S. is involved, the UN is involved, Russia's involved. Like this potentially, and looking into it after the fact, potentially could have kicked off World War III had things gone worse. But so the mercenaries basically tell them that they need to leave because they have their orders, and the Jamie Dornan's character basically says, "We can't leave. We have our orders too." And so the mercenary launches these attacks against Jadotville with hundreds of African militia who just come in waves at this mining town, and the Irish have to try and repel them. There's a scene. The first attack actually takes place because almost all of the soldiers, the Irish, go to a mass, and that's when the mercenaries attack. And looking into it after the fact, that actually did happen. The mercenaries had watched them and saw that they all go to mass, so that's when they launched their first attack. So you can imagine the chaos of everyone trying to get to their post when the attack comes. Again, powerful scene, good times. I'm not going to tell you what happens to the soldiers, or should I? That's a tough one, because I want you to watch the movie, but I don't want you to know like what happens in the movie, because otherwise there's like no suspense. But it's also important to talk about the end. So that's going to be interesting. So anyway, the attacks come, and Jamie Dornan is the leader, and over time, and when I say over time, I mean like in the years following, to the point like present day. What he did, his character, obviously not Jamie Dornan himself, but what he did has been praised as like one of the best uses of perimeter defense ever. And it's actually taught in Irish training that, if this were to happen, this worked. And so you can obviously improve on it and stuff like that. But so these soldiers, I found out how I can spoil the ending without spoiling the ending. So they're vastly outnumbered. They're outgunned. Reinforcements can't reach them. And by the end of the battle, they're out of ammo. And the decision comes, what do we do now? So watch the movie, or just, if you don't want to watch the movie, just look into it. The UN, basically, when the Congo situation went belly up, the UN basically tried to disavow that they had anything really to do with this, and they left these guys out to dry. They couldn't get to them, so they couldn't reinforce them. They couldn't get them out, so they just basically stopped answering the radio when they were calling for help. And it's tough, because you can just imagine yourself being in that situation when you're trying to defend this outpost, and the people who are supposed to be supporting you just aren't there, and like the radio calls are going through, they're just not answering. So they have to deal with that. And for years after the siege, this was actually, I don't know if any of you know history, but this was the scenario when Dag Hammarskjöld, who was the UN Secretary General at the time, was flying down to help broker a ceasefire, and his plane went down, and all aboard were killed. And to this day, there's no definitive answer as to what brought the plane down. If it was shot down, or if it was pilot error, or they just crashed, or like mechanical failure, there's no definitive proof. The prevailing theory is that he was shot down. The plane was shot down. And so, I mean, the fact that the Secretary General of the United Nations potentially was assassinated. I know there are a bunch of conspiracy theorists about who killed Kennedy and whatnot, but I mean, we're talking about the Security Council for the United Nations. The leader may have been assassinated. The fact that this didn't end up in World War III is amazing. So the actions of the soldiers at Jadotville for years was swept under the rug. And because of that, they didn't receive any recognition or really anything. It wasn't until I believe 2004 when an investigation into the United Nations occurred where they uncovered this what happened at Jadotville, and now what they did is considered to be one of the most heroic actions that a military unit did, and the fact that they were untested, this was the first battle they were in, is just a remarkable feat. So again, I don't want to spoil what happens because part of what makes this movie great is I didn't know how it ended, and so that's part of the movie viewing experience for me. So I'm not going to spoil that for you, but yeah, check out The Siege of Jadotville. It was surprisingly well done. Jamie Dornan, 50 Shades of Grey. Nope, he's 50 Shades of Badass. I'm sorry, that's a horrible thing, but yeah, I know it's dumb. But yeah, he was great. Jason O'Mara, who, you know, he doesn't really do these big movies, and Siege of Jadotville isn't a big movie, but he was really good in this movie because I mean, Jamie Dornan's character is also untested. He's never been in the battle, and you know, there's a lot of questioning of his tactics and his ability to lead his men. Mark Strong is just delicious. Mark Strong is one of my favorite actors. I love watching him work. Like from Kick-Ass, Kingsman, he even pulled off being somewhat the only saving grace in Russell Crowe's Robin Hood, which I did not care for. But yeah, Mark Strong was just great again. Not a likable character, but it's just quality of acting. I mean, he delivers all the time. But yeah, Siege of Jadotville, definitely highly recommend. Give it a watch if you like that style of movie. It's right up the alley. So yeah, happy St. Patrick's Day to everyone. Hence, you know, that's why I chose that movie, because it was an Irish unit that they sent. Also, I'm just going to touch on a couple of other great Irish movies that maybe slipped under the radar. In Bruges, wonderful movie. Quick shout out to my buddy Mike, who actually recommended it, because when he found out I hadn't seen In Bruges, he was like, "How have you not seen In Bruges?" So yeah, In Bruges. Colin Farrell, Brendan Gleeson. I mean, talk about two guys who always deliver. Ray Fiennes, same thing. Also, Boondock Saints. Enough said, Boondock Saints. I'll probably get to a review of Boondock Saints eventually, because that's a movie that you need to see. The sequel, All Saints Day, not as good, but again, it's one of those things where if there had not been a Boondock Saints 2 would have been amazing, but compared to the first Boondock Saints, it just doesn't hold up. But yeah, there are some great movies with Irish elements to them. So on this great March 17th, St. Paddy's Day, I encourage you all to look into some Irish films, either made in Ireland or about Ireland, or about, again, Mrs. Brown's Boys. Irish. But yeah, so let's give the Irish a shout out today. Wonderful country, wonderful people. And yeah, check out Siege of Jadotville. So thank you guys for stopping by once again. I appreciate all of my viewers and my subscribers, obviously. Um, Click like, subscribe. He would appreciate it. But yeah, share these videos. Let's keep the conversation going. Let's talk some movies. Keep the comments coming. Recommendations for movies I should review. I'm going to be getting to, I think Pacific Rim is coming up soon, because that review is going to be interesting, because, yeah, Pacific Rim, who knew? But yeah, so thank you guys for stopping by. Siege of Jadotville, check it out. Happy St. Patrick's Day, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye for now.